So, one man, one God, Trinity. Ladies and gentlemen, I have one thing to say, and this is from my own studies and the way I know that God, it presents itself in the way the path of a person goes and the things that it leads when it manifests through the REM and things that just you have all the answers to. So God does lead through things when there's certain plans, there's certain elements that people find that gives us the cure for everything. They even have governments that seal it, and for a long time it's been sealed, right? Our indigenous practices have been giving us the way of living that show us what our body contains us and how it runs in and how it's energized and what keeps it a whole. And these practices have been stripped and been diminished because of divide and conquer times. And either way, we're gonna see it more or we've seen it less. We see it now. It can be present anytime in yourself because you might not even see yourself as a person that has not taken yourself there. But in short, like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, there's a lot more than people think that they are separated from all this isolation. It's so much that you could have a group of people really believing on that this movement was something that was so honestly put together to hold the people of that was being given of this language, that was given of a name because their name wasn't good enough. They were stripped from their lands and said that the lands were conquered from people that had never been there before. But we lived and we nourished the land. We learned from the universe to the land what was the cure to all the sicknesses. And we had it before the modern medicine came. Modern medicine came from this indigenous practice. And what was stripped and taken and changed, and it's original. And this is why we still have issues with health to be believed, because you want to strip and then hold and contain and then make it something else that's not part of our nature. We don't divide and conquer our lives. We want 100%. God gives us 100%, and we find ourselves in this place every day. So as indigenous in these practices is what health and heal is going to come about. And for years and years in our roots, I'm talking about Catalonians, is an original language that came from the Spaniards. The Spaniards did not speak Spanish or did not speak Latin per se, okay? Not per se. They did not speak Latin. Latin wasn't even a Spain thing. So pay attention, because Latin is supposed to be a whole Latin America and a whole culture. But where does this culture come from? Can you call yourself a Latin? Because Latin it's not even a culture. Latin didn't even originate in Spain. Latin came from Rome. Spain substituted Latin as a way to convert to speak Spanish because the Latin language was more understandable than Catalonian. Catalonian was the original language of Spain. How do I know? I used to live in Spain. Nevertheless, God put me in a place where I lived in Gracia, Spain, with Catalonian people that taught me this that I know. And I'm telling you that God puts you in places where you could speak up for yourself as you go. I didn't have a map where I was going to go in Spain and who I was going to visit. It was all hands on what I do over there to find a place, go to the most convenient places or ask around what's out there, what's for rent, what's over here, where am I, what's this? Bam. Catalonia was showing me now that the reason why it wasn't, Catalonia was the original language. There was no. They had to substitute another language. Nobody could understand Spain when it came to trading. They didn't understand Catalonia. Nobody. The Chinese didn't know, understand. The Asia didn't understand. Russia didn't understand. Spain, you know what I mean? Like France didn't. Nobody could understand. The indigenous didn't understand. None of you coming over here trying to divide and conquer. And then, this is what I'm saying. This was even it was a language. It's not a culture. Latin is a language that didn't even come from Spain. You feel what I'm saying? So, no, I'm not Latin. I'm not a language. And I'm not a culture that's based on a subject of destroy and conquer my indigenous roots for my islands to be and to protect. I'm not going to be attached to something that has no roots but miscommunication it's just that came from a time where people were set up and given a name now because our individuals ways we were taken from all our resources, all our practices, and we had to convert everything into. We couldn't speak the language how we conveyed ourselves and how we live. We had to now speak Latin if we wanted to trade, because now we trading for the Spaniards. Now we working for whoever was being conquered and whatever, and the islands and the Caribbeans, and then in the Americas, like in Latin American area, which I'm not even going to be talking like I'm acknowledging it, because I don't acknowledge anything to be something was built on just artificially, like out of nature, like really hurting a human, to take the identity of a human race away. And look at the proof of what you feel like I should be standing on. Yo, I've been taking my knee on this. Like, you think I'm gonna be indigenous and know where my roots come from for me to be repping something? You can give me 1,000 billions of dollars, I'm still gonna take my knee on it. See, there's people that know what's to play and people that know what's to pay. And there ain't no money in this world, or no artist and all this politician that's gonna speak on it and be on it 100%. That's artificial, my guy. Like, I'm really gonna stand here and say, yeah, I'm Latin. Latin is a language, not even originated, not even from the conquerors that gave you a Latin to be. So if you want to make sense of something that you don't own up, that you don't really come from, I'm just putting it in this way. I'm not here going against anybody with no color, no race, but I'm here making sure that you don't differentiate me or put me in a box where you want me to be and live as if this is what my upcomings really stand for, when that doesn't even hold solidly, when something comes from something that you take a language and then you want to make this language because you already categorize these people that you conquer Latin, and then you want to map for it so everybody to know this is Latin America, and then you want people to represent this in live TV so people could be categorized into something that was put out of our nature. It was made out of divide and conquer. And it doesn't even make sense. When somebody takes something that's not even from their language, just because their language is they can't communicate with nobody. Probably just divide and conquer. Ain't no talking. It's just, but they were the first to go out there, and then everybody else, they had to come to Spain and understand what was happening with the new lands what was over there. So they had to talk to them. So they had to find a way to communicate. They couldn't do it. So they adopted. They went and took Latin from Roman practices. Is Rome a Spanish? Is Rome like, you see what I'm saying? Is Rome a Spanish? No. So that, you know how many twists this Isn't that like how you going? How am I going to label myself as a people of Latin? Because the world needs to adapt to a new world and a new map in a way new conqueror wants to put their pieces. Like if it's a board game and you could just erase names and put a new name and then say the people that born here and they don't have no say. Yeah, no, I'm not a Latin. I've been take my knee.